Vlad Ethereum Classic.
Welcome back, gentlemen, to Capital Gentlemen. The majority is always wrong, the buyers are always late. It's your host, Vlad Ethereum, and today we're going to get back into another video. Like how I started off with the 2016 style intro, I don't think I know how to do it any other way, literally. But that's just how it is. So we're going to go over some key questions happening in the market, what's happening with the 4-year cycle, what's the short-term price action for Bitcoin, what's the weekly time frame looking like for Bitcoin, short-term time frames like the 4-hour, also diving into the daily time frame on Render, the 3-day time frame, the 5-day time frame, the monthly time frame on both the Render USDT and Render Bitcoin charts, along with one divided by Render divided by Bitcoin, and just talking about key market sentiment, as I feel we need to take that into account before we make any decision realistically. So this isn't going to incorporate the total market cap or anything like that. We're not talking about Bitcoin dominance. We're not talking about total 1, total 2, or total 3. If you want to refer to the altcoin season pending transition from Bitcoin season to altcoin season, I would recommend you click the link in the description and check out my most recent video before this one. Specifically the one in the description, maybe reviewing this a couple months into the future. Just for ease, go ahead, click the description, subscribe while you're at it, and like the video. Hope you like the gameplay we got going. For Bitcoin is key is that we keep intact the 4-year cycle, as Wolves of Crypto has already gone over. Shout out Wolves of Crypto. Let's just start off with the 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin USDT. If we zoom in, we're not going to look at the momentum because we only care about high time frame momentum. We only care about that as that is key for the overall macro trend and short-term time frame. Price is defined by macro momentum. That's just key. You're not going to see elevating prices in a market that is not attracting, any kind of liquidity on an uptrend. You're just not going to see higher prices that way. But as as the momentum indicators like the stochastic RSI, RSI and the MACD are lagging indicators, we want to continue to track the current volume and potential, leverage ratios happening in the market, along with liquidity from smart money players, as that represents liquidity before it even enters the market. On either side, as shorts can get liquidated to longs and longs can get liquidated for shorts. So let's just review what's been happening. We've been in this accumulation sideways range from 48,000 all the way to the retest of 38K.6, and we've been in this range on the 4-hour time frame, but more so defining this range later in this video, after we broke out from this ascending triangle that we have on a shorter term time frame. But what's happening here is a key short-term uptrend, like we had this key short-term downtrend. What we've been seeing in the past recent years with Bitcoin, if you haven't noticed, is these V-shaped recoveries, and they have been quite bullish. Saw a V-shaped recovery here, and worried about is a 4-hour time frame pattern breakout, as we identified that before the move happened. Because you don't want to be getting in at the end of the move. You want to be secure before the continuation. And the buyers are always late. As we know, the sentiment down here was retest of levels of 35K, 33K, 30K, 31K. People were flipping bearish, and it's really been a year of up only. If you've been any kind of short, I don't think it's been a good journey for you. As we've seen, once the bottom is in, there's realistically no point in betting on lower prices. I mean, in my opinion, unless you're, a short leverage trader or specifically a short trader, there's realistically no benefit on betting on lower prices, even at these levels when you see local highs. I mean, because when you zoom out, like it didn't matter. It doesn't matter here. It didn't matter here. And it doesn't matter here because when we get up here, you're going to be like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. And, what I've also noticed is that majority of people aren't even in yet. Majority of people are still waiting for lower prices. That doesn't even make any sense because ultimately at the end of the day you have to reflect upon the facts. The facts are in, or the facts are as they are, the bottoms are in. And I don't know why people are trying to buy lower prices in an uptrend and in a bull market. We are literally on the edge of closing above 49K. But as soon as we do that on the monthly time frame, you can't deny that the bull market is in. And if you're trying to buy lower prices, it literally just means you missed out on the accumulation phase. And that's not on the market. That's not on Bitcoin. That's on you because you can't literally just put your own ego aside and understand the fact that you had 2 years to accumulate. And I don't know why people are trying to get lower prices again at the worst possible time. Like, bro, you had the biggest capitulatory event to facilitate all sorts of prices for your buying power in USD, and you still wouldn't buy. What makes you think a 10% drop is even gonna matter to you? Seriously, I don't understand people that are trying to debate, whether Solana is going back to, let's say, $40. I think they're in denial because even if that did happen, number one, I don't even think you would buy it. But number two, you're betting on a scenario that has little to no confirmation in a macro uptrend where if that scenario were to play out, you wouldn't even want to buy that asset anyways, as the break of structure on the macro scale would invalidate any kind of upside that would now be presented to you before that scenario would take place. Now, I hope that's clear. I'm not trying to make this some super complex video with complex words, but that's just what this is. This shit's finance. It's not a game where we're going to baby you, where we're going to act like it's not a cutthroat game, where we're not going to act like there's market makers, where we're not going to act like there's not constant liquidity hunts, scammers, people constantly looking for your seed phrase or for your Wi-Fi, wherever you are, constantly tracking how much money you got if you got a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's a cutthroat game, and these are the facts. The bottoms are in. Stop trying to get lower prices. Not financial advice, but bro, it's obvious. It's obvious. It's clear as day. Stop being a pussy. We're not bearish. Damn. We're gonna end this year at all-time highs on most cryptos. As soon as Bitcoin hits 69K, it's altcoin season. Straight up. So, like, think about it. How are you trying to buy the bottom of something or lower prices of something as it's transitioning into a season where the most liquidity is presented to your asset class you're speculating on? Think about it. You're betting on lower prices while the most liquidity is being presented to your asset class. Do you want to get liquidated? Now, moving on, um, I think, now that I've made that clear, because that had to get set. Um, we have a uptrend support break
Sorry,
not in play,
who are you hiding from?
and a break of this uptrend line could potentially mean a short-term reversal on the price action, the ascending triangle.
You should
Um,
walk up straight.
so
It's important to keep a
that
proper
also
upper
that's a
body
also
posture if
different
you don't want to mess up your
interpretation.
bag.
Bullish confirmation in play. Two bullish breakouts. 4 hour
Oh, come
symmetrical
on.
triangle. 4 hour ascending triangle.
Good day, T.
And by
Seriously, what the
ascending
hell?
triangle, I mean, you're like, Vlad, where's the resistance? I mean, if you really just
Oh
look
my
at
god.
this range, I mean, what we've been
Oh
doing this
my
whole
god, what the
time
hell?
realistically and saying, what's acting as resistance is resistance, as, reflected here, all these wicks until it broke out. So on our daily time frame, what I've been seeing is that we have a diamond top pattern. It's really hard for me to kind of like draw that up. I tried my best though, but the target remains, breakout from a diamond top pattern. It's just the one thing we want to ask ourselves is if a double top could be coming in play. Have an RSI breakout into overbought. We have a lack of confirmations on higher term time frames as of closing above 49k. Moving on now to the 3-day time frame. So we did have a bearish divergence that seems to already have played out as we've broken uptrend resistance on the RSI because that becomes valid when you break back above the descending RSI. Bearish divergence played out. I want to dive into the weekly time frame. So 40k needs to break before the trend reverses if correction comes before the halving. And going back into overbought on the weekly time frame, uptrend intact regardless. If we put on stochastic RSI reset on the weekly time frame, giving us plenty of momentum possible to the upside. Shout out Cowboy Trades. Heard there was a 53k Bitcoin CME gap on Bitcoin CME futures, so we could fill that up. It's in a possible scenario. Bitcoin halving is 69 days away. So we're just gonna draw that up. Got 10 weeks until the Bitcoin halving. So it's not a lot of time. I wouldn't be fucking around with your portfolio. I wouldn't be taking a bunch of risk right before it's actually time to go risk on. You don't want to get liquidated before the biggest bull run, and you don't want to get liquidated mid bull run. So, because then you'll definitely have to wait. Not expected to see 48k close until halving expectation, but that doesn't mean that has to happen. That's just minimum expectations for timing, but I guess that does threaten the 4-year cycle, according to Wolves of Crypto. And according to Bob Lucas, then we have to bring into some sort of left translated cycle, possibly into theory, or just an early bull market, possibly ending the bull market earlier than usual. But our range is in play from 40k to 46k. Obviously, deviations in a larger range from 49k to 38k, and when we deviate below key support nearer to us or key resistance nearer to us, then we deviate into the further support and resistance. So moving on to the monthly time frame, looking for the monthly time frame close above the 48k level. Again, that support and resistance range. 4-year cycle, 14 days top to top. 1400 days top to top. 1400 days bottom to bottom. 400 days top to bottom. 1064 days bottom to top, and 500 days bottom to halving. So, shout out Wolves of Crypto for laying that blueprint out. So, early cycle in question. I already came to that conclusion a while ago. I kind of noticed that, but at the same time, though, didn't we have one of the longest bear markets ever? So, overall macro bullish on Bitcoin. I don't see anything that's weird, realistically. With the monthly close being where it's at, higher than it was last time, I don't see what the problem is.